So you want to learn how to do a handstand? Well, in this video, we are going to take you through an awesome beginner handstand routine. This is the entry-level skill for calisthenics and very important to master. Now make sure you stick around to the end because we're going to show you some of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to learn the handstand. All that and more coming up.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
Hi, in case we haven't met, my name is Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the co-founders of Unity Gym and co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we take driven people and turn them into superhumans. And the way we get such astonishing results with our members is that we've created a program that has a balance between strength and flexibility. If you'd like to know how we do that, you can download the free flexibility blueprint. There's a link in the description of this video. All right, let's get into it. We're going to teach you some really cool stuff for a handstand, and this is a workout that's designed for an absolute beginner. So for all of those of you that are wanting to know how to get started with calisthenics, and especially the handstand, this is going to be a really good place for you to learn. To start the workout off, we're going to be doing a little bit of a wrist and elbow and shoulder warm-up. So we're going to get our hands on the ground like this, and we're going to come forward and rock side to side. So Richard's just going to do that a couple of times. You can do this a bit more than what we do when you're actually doing your workout if you feel you need it. Now we're on the back of the wrist. Now the important one for this is to make sure that the elbows are straight, and what you do is you pull your bum back, okay? So you get as much of a stretch there. Splay your fingers out on the ground. Now we turn the hands out. Pull your arms back as far as you can and go side to side. And then the last one, we're going to turn the hands in. Now you can do all of those a little bit longer than what we're doing. I like to, once I come forward, I like to go side to side maybe 2 or 3 times. And then with all of them, you can also go around a couple of times like that. So all 4 of those positions. Now we're going to do a couple of wrist circles. So we're going to circle the wrists like this. Make sure that the forearm stays as still as possible so that it's just the hand moving, and we'll do 10 in one direction and then 10 in the other direction. Really concentrating on taking the hand as far as it can possibly go in all movement, not just flailing the arms around like this. Now we're on to the first knuckle push-ups. So these next 4 exercises, you're actually also going to do this at the end of the workout as for sets and reps. In the warm-up, we do it just to prepare the body for the handstands, but at the end of the workout, the next 4 exercises I'm going to show you are going to be done as a circuit for 3 sets. So first knuckle push-ups, we're going to have the index finger facing forward like this, the fingers are splayed, the index finger is about shoulder width apart, the thumb comes off the ground at all times, the elbows are turned in, so take note Richard's elbows are coming in like that, and we're going to go up and then down for about 3 seconds. So up and down for about 3 seconds. When you get better with this, you'll bring your knees further away from you and do it here, and eventually when you get to a high level, it's very, very hard to do this, takes a lot of work. We're going to come up on the feet and we're going to do it like this. And of course you can do a hybrid where you come up on your knees and then go down on your feet. That will help you bridge the gap there. Now the next one we're going to do is wrist push-ups. So from here we're going to come down and then push up onto the knuckles, okay? The more weight that you can handle in your hands, the better this is going to be. So the more weight that you can, the more you can bring your shoulders over your hands to get some weight in there, the better it's going to be for you. The next one we're going to do is fingertip push-ups. So we're going to start from here, bend the elbows a bit, pop up on the fingers, try and get a bit of weight in them, and then go down slowly. Up, down slowly. Up, down slowly. And then the last one we're going to do is wrist rocks, where we come forward onto the first knuckle and then come back onto the little finger. There's a couple of things to think about here. When you go forward on the first knuckle, you want to rock forward. When you come back on the little finger, you just go down. So forward on the first knuckle, down on the little finger, okay? And again, of course, as you get better, eventually you'll come up onto your feet when you do this, okay? Now we move into elbow circles, so we're going to turn the arm in and flick the arm out like that. So turn it in, flick, flick, and you want to make that flicking motion happen very fast. Then we go the other way. Flick, 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 10 of these in each direction. Then we do closed kinetic chain circles, so we're going to circle the elbow like this all the way around, and we're going to change directions like this. Okay, so we're trying to move the elbows and shoulders, but not the hands. Now we're gonna come up and grab onto our band. We're onto the shoulders, and what we're gonna use for this is a nice bit of Theraband. You can get these on Amazon or eBay if you just search for Theraband. And what Richard's gonna do is come away from the object that the band's attached to, so there's a little bit of tension. Then he's gonna do small circles forward with his arms as his arms are coming up above the head. Once the arms get right up above the head, we're gonna change directions with the circles and come back down. You'll notice he's keeping his core engaged there, so we're not letting the back arch. Once his arms come right down beside him, we're gonna pulse back and forward as the arms come up and the arms up above the head. Now we're gonna do big circles where we're thinking with the shoulders of elevating, which is when the shoulder blades come up, protracting, which is when the shoulder blades come away from the spine, depressing, which is when the shoulder blades go down, and retracting, which is when they pull back towards the spine. But we just do that in a smooth circling motion. So you're taking the shoulder joint through its full range, and then we change direction. So we want to really make sure you get that protraction, elevation, retraction, and depression. Okay, a couple of reps. And then we're going to do internal rotation. And now we're going to turn around and face towards the pole, and now we're going to pull back as hard as you can and do the same thing. So small circles forward. So you can see he's really engaging all the retractors, the scapular retractors, and everything that horizontally abducts the shoulders and flexes and extends the shoulders. Okay, and then we're going to do the pulses back and forward. So it's exactly the same thing. It's small circles forward as your arms go up, small circles backwards as your arms go down, pulse back and forward as you go up, and then big circles forward. Have a look what's going on in his scapula here. See that depression, protraction, elevation, retraction. So protraction is out, elevation is up, retraction is in, depression is down. Okay, and then the other direction. So you can really see what's going on with his shoulder blades there. So we're getting full range of motion through the whole shoulder girdle. And then to finish off, we're going to do some external rotation. So he's going to come up and externally rotate like that. Perfect. And now we are all warmed up. Our upper body, now we just need to do our core. Now to finish off the warm-up, we want to make sure that we switch on the muscles that control the core, which are very, very important for a handstand. So we're going to do 15 seconds of these 4 positions. Well, it's really 3 positions, but one of them is on 2 sides. First one is the back body line. So he's just going to lift his arms up to his feet, and then he's going to straighten out, and now the 15-second timer would start. There's no gap between his lower back and the ground, so he's using his abs to push his back down in the ground and create a hollow body. Then we're going to go on a side dish. So he's going to go to the side, put his hand on the ground, touch his ear to the shoulder, and then lift the shoulder and lift the legs so that he's using the obliques. And again, we're going to hold for 15 seconds. Then he's going to go on his stomach. And the stomach, now we're going to have both arms externally rotated, lifting the arms as high as you can. The feet only come a couple of inches off the ground, but they're firmly pulled together, and the arms are going right up. Again, 15 seconds, and then you do the other side for that side dish. So the most important thing for all of these is that your body is shaped like that on all of them. The center mat of your mass has to be pushed firmly into the ground, and you create a dish-like shape. Right, now the warm-up is done and we are into the workout. And to start with, we're going to do 3 sets of the front body line and back body line. The back body line is when you're laying on your back, and we want a dowel rod for this one. As you get stronger, you'll actually put a small weight on this, up to 2.5 kilos. Now what Richard's going to do is bring his feet and hands together and pause there. Now, what I want you to take notice of is that his abs are totally switched on, and his core, his spine, is in a flexed position. So go into a really bad arched position here, Richie, like that. That's absolutely terrible. So what we're looking for is that the abs engage, the lower back pushes firmly in the ground. See how the shoulders lifted up there? That's what we're looking for. Now from his shoulders to his pelvis shouldn't move at all as he extends out. So from the shoulders to the pelvis stays flexed. His arms go out, his legs go out, and now he's going to hold this position for up to 60 seconds. Thanks, Richie, you can relax. Things to look out for here is, the further apart your hands and feet go, the harder it is. So for a lot of you, Richie, if you just come up and go like a quarter of the way out, a lot of you will be doing this here. When I started this was very, very hard for me to do for 60 seconds. Some of you will be even closer. Some of you that have poor conditioning in your core, you might be there, and that'll be very hard for you to hold for 60 seconds. But as you get better, the goal is to bring the feet and the hands as close to the ground as possible without letting your lower back come off the ground and without losing the engagement of your abs. And we're going to do this for 3 sets of 60 seconds, but each set is going to be paired with a set of the front body line, which is this. So roll over. So the front body line, he's going to put his nose on the ground, a little bit of stuff from the floor here, feet together, nose on the ground, hands on the dowel rod at shoulder width apart. Now from here, he squeezes his legs together, tenses his bum, sucks his stomach in so I can get a space under his stomach, and you can see that creates what's called a posterior pelvic tilt. Do an anterior pelvic tilt, Richie. See that? That's called an anterior pelvic tilt, which is where the top of the iliac crest goes to the anterior side of his body. Now in a posterior pelvic tilt, the top of the iliac crest comes posteriorly to the back of his body. So, feet together, feet firmly on the ground. Bum tense, stomach sucked in to create a posterior pelvic tilt, nose on the ground, and then hands lift up just an inch so that I can get my arms under here, okay? And if you have a partner, they're constantly doing this, checking the legs, feet on the ground, feet firmly together, checking the bums tight, checking the stomachs off the ground, I can get my hands under here, and checking that the nose is on the ground and that his arms are off the ground. Thanks, Richie, just relax. When you start, you're gonna find it very, very hard to lift your hands off the ground like that. And if you don't have the flexibility, there's a way that you can test for overhead flexibility by putting your back against the wall. So from head to pelvis, I suck my stomach in against the wall, and I should be able to lift my arms up so that my arms touch the wall. And if they don't, then you actually don't have enough shoulder flexion to be able to do a handstand, and you need to watch our video on how to increase overhead mobility. That is very, very important. If you don't have enough shoulder flexion, then doing a handstand is going to be a real problem for you. And if that's the case, you can still be working on everything that we've worked on up to here, and even the next drill, but you won't try and lift your hands off the ground. You'll keep your hands on the ground and you'll be focusing on what's going on with your legs and your core. Because this position, this front body line, this is the position that your body gets in when you work the handstand. So you basically do each one of those exercises, you do one for 60 seconds, then you can rest for up to a minute. It depends how long you've got for your workout. Personally, I just put a timer on for 60 seconds, 6 minutes, so that when it beeps, I immediately go from one to the other. It's a bit harder, but you get it all done a lot quicker. So it depends on how long you want to go for. Now we're on to learning how to move in a handstand, and it's really, really important that you learn these skills. You need to be able to move properly, because if you can't move and control your legs, then when you do your handstand, you're going to really be flailing around all over the place. So what we're going to do now is a really nice little drill to help with that. So Richard's just going to demonstrate a couple of reps, and what we're doing is we're changing legs on each rep. So just do a couple of reps, Richie. So what you're looking for is to land as softly as you can on the ground. Thanks, Richie. Land as softly as you can on the ground. Tense the quads, so you tense this muscle here. Point the toes and swap the legs over at the top. Just watch out, I'll demonstrate something here. So at a basic level, what you're going to be doing is quite a low flutter, like this, with your shoulders over your hands, but your legs are just coming up low. As you get better, you'll start to come higher, and I'm always aiming for a soft landing, and eventually that will turn into your handstand. So I'll demonstrate a couple of little ways that you can play around with this. So firstly, you want to be starting going pretty low to the ground. So you're just flicking up like this. And as you get more comfortable, eventually you'll start kicking up higher until you're getting up to a proper handstand position. Okay? And from that point there, that starts to turn into your handstand. Now we're on to the 45-degree face-to-wall handstand, and this is where you're really starting to develop the handstand skill. But the idea in being a beginner, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they just kick up and flail around in a handstand. They don't ever develop any time like in the hold of the handstand position. So the idea of the 45-degree face-to-wall handstand is that it helps you to learn the line and how to contract the muscles that are necessary for the handstand before you go into a proper handstand practice. So Richie's going to put his hands down on the ground roughly about here, and then with one step he's going to bring his foot up on the wall and then the other foot up there, and then from here bring your hands a bit further away from the wall, Richie, because I forgot how tall you are. And now from here he's going to tense his bum and push his shoulders towards the wall and draw his stomach in. So his bum's tense, sucking the stomach in and pushing the shoulders as hard towards the wall that way as you can, okay? So the idea is to try and get as straight as you can from your hands to your feet, but it's okay to have a little bit of an angle like this. So get the bum down more a bit, Richie, shoulders in a bit more, shoulders in, good, awesome. All right, thanks mate. And that's a real challenge. You're gonna feel this a lot on the shoulders, but it's gonna help you to develop the strength that's required for a handstand. So what you're looking for is 3 times 60-second hold. Now bear in mind, when I say you're looking for a 60-second hold, that's not the expectation when you start. When you start, you might barely be able to hold 10 or 15 seconds, but the goal is to be able to do it 3 times for 60 seconds. What you want to do between rest sets of the 45-degree face-to-wall handstand is a handstand hang. So this is actually a tiny bit too low for me, but I can just demonstrate it. So what I would prefer is if my feet were right off the ground, but that's okay. My hands are going to be very, very close together intentionally. And from here, I'm going to look up only just enough that I can see that pull-up bar, right, like I'm looking through my eyebrows. Like if the camera was the pull-up bar, it's like I'm looking like that. I'm not looking at it like that. I'm really trying to keep my head down, because the further back I pull my head, the more it's going to pull my whole spine into extension, and that's not what we want. And this drill is going to really help you to understand how to do a straight line. So from here, I'm looking up just enough. I'm going to tense my bum and suck my stomach in and then point my toes. So you can see if this was another 2 or 3 inches higher, it would be perfect for me, but it's just high enough that I can still demonstrate a pretty nice line. So I'm drawing my stomach in, tensing my bum just like we did on the front body line, and completely relaxing in my arms. My arms are just relaxing, and then I'm just looking up. And that really helps my nervous system to understand the line of the handstand. And what you want to do is you'll do 1 set of the 45-degree face-to-wall handstand, and then 1 set of this hanging drill. And the last drill that we're going to do in this workout, the last handstand drill, the face-to-wall handstand, you also do the hanging in between it. For the last exercise, this is where it starts getting more challenging. So for this one, you are going to need to be quite confident that you're not going to fall over. And there's a bonus exercise I'm going to show you at the end of this video, which is going to help you with that, which is going to teach you how to bail out. So this is called the face-to-wall handstand. And what Richard's going to do is going to get up against the wall, and he's going to get his palms 4 fingers width from the wall. So this far away from the wall. So you see he gets very close, and then he's going to push his nose firmly against the wall, squeeze his feet together, tense his bum, suck his stomach in, and push as high as he can. So he's trying to push his legs up towards the roof, and we're going to hold that for up to 60 seconds. So you have a little timer on your phone so you can see how long you're holding it for. When you're finished, you need to save some strength to walk out. Okay, and then you bring one leg down, and there you go. Now, of course, you won't necessarily be able to get all the way to the wall like that, like Richard did when you start. So if you start with your hands here, but you're trying to get yourself closer to the wall, and you film yourself to see if you've got a straight line in your handstand, and then as you get better, you'll slowly get closer and closer to the wall. But be very careful with this one. I'm going to show you a bonus exercise now to teach you ways that you can practice bailing out of a handstand to make sure that you know what you're doing. So that's the workout, and to finish off, what you want to do is 3 sets of those 4 wrist strengthening exercises that I showed you at the start, and you're going to do 10 reps of each one. Only have a 10-second break between each exercise, so you'll do the first knuckle push-ups, then a 10-second break, then the wrist push-ups, 10-second break, fingertip push-ups, 10-second break, then wrist rocks, and then you can take a minute break before you do it again. So you'll get 3 sets done very, very quickly if you don't take longer than a 10-second break and then a minute break at the end of the round. That's really, really important. It's very important that you get the wrist strengthening done. Now, how often should you do this? Depends how well conditioned your body is. If you're somebody that's totally new to this, then doing this workout 2 to 3 times a week with at least a 48 or 72-hour break between each workout will be more than enough. As you get better, you could increase to 4 or 5 times a week, and maybe even up to 6. Personally, I've found the sweet spot to be about 5 times a week for a handstand workout. Now, as I said before, there's going to be a bonus exercise that I'm going to teach you now, which is basically a cartwheel and learning how to bail out of a handstand. Because if you want to do a handstand, the big fear that everybody has, and it's a very real fear, is falling forward, falling over and falling onto your back. So what I'm going to do is show you how you bail out when you're practicing your freestanding handstands. So if I'm practicing a freestanding handstand and I need to fall over, so I'm up in my handstand, whoops, and I bail out, and all I have to do is cartwheel like that, okay? So how do we get from where you are to being able to do that? The first thing you have to be able to do is a cartwheel. So you need to be able to confidently cartwheel, okay? So, you're gonna start down on the ground like this. Now this is a bonus to the workout. This is just something that you'll need to do in your own time. And from here, you're gonna put your hands down beside you, scoop one leg across the ground, scoop the other leg across the ground, and then come down. And what you're looking for here is that your legs are completely straight when you do it. So come up, 1, 2, and then back down. Then from there, you're gonna do the same thing, but you'll bring your legs off the ground a little bit. Now we're going to go up over our body, but with bent legs. And now we're going to do the same thing, but with straight legs. And then from there, you go into your cartwheel. And once you understand that, when you do the handstand, if you start falling forward, all you do is rotate in the pelvis, bring the hand around, and you'll bail out. Like that. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and leave a comment with any questions that you have about the handstand, and we'll answer them for you. If you'd like us to make any specific videos, leave a comment with that as well, and we'll see if we can get around to it. And of course, consider subscribing to our channel. And if you want to get notified when we do our weekly videos, just click the notification bell. See you in the next training video.
That old red shit.